Yo, what up, a-holes? Thank you for tuning into the Holistic A-Hole podcast. My name is Erik Levi, and I'm the Holistic A-Hole, the mommy blogger with balls, the inconvenient truth of health. How's it going, everybody? Hope you're doing great wherever you are. I'm doing fantastic, and that's why I'm here. Or it doesn't matter if I'm feeling fantastic. I'm going to do this either which way. I'll do this whether I'm happy, sad, feeling great, feeling crappy. It's all about you a-holes. That's why I do this. It's not about me. It's about y'all. And hope you're having a great day. And look, just a quick heads up. If you are new here to the podcast, make sure you take a hot second. Hit the subscribe button right there in the podcast player on your phone, your Android, your iPhone, your flip phone, your rotary phone, your mom or dad's phone, whatever your phone you're listening to this on, and you're streaming this podcast or downloading it, whatever, just hit the subscribe button. It's so easy to do, and then you'll get this popping up in your podcast feed every time it gets released. If you haven't done this, what are you waiting for? And then go on over to iTunes, leave the podcast a hot, smoking hot, sizzling 5-star review, because look, you're going to love the podcast, even though you haven't heard it yet. I promise you, it's going to be fantastic, because today we're talking about something that everybody can relate to. And that is gas. Yes. Some of us like to pretend like we don't know. We don't know what I'm talking about, right? You're sitting there like, gas? I don't have gas, Erik. I'm a fine, upstanding citizen of the world, prim and proper, covered in perfume and cologne and Axe body spray. God forbid, please don't be covered in Axe body spray. But you might be sitting there like, look, I don't have gas. Oh, you've got gas. We've all got gas. Everyone's got gas. It's pretty much impossible in 2018 or 2019 or 2020 or 2021, whenever you're listening to this podcast, to not have gas. That's how sure of this I am, especially if you live in America. With the standard American diet, this diet is primed for gas. Is it not? How can you eat anything now and not immediately just get the farts or the burps or those like kind of half burp things where you like it comes up and you you don't make the burp sound, but you kind of make that little like bubbly thing. Oh man, this is gonna be a fun one. I want to talk about it because here's the deal. I'm sitting here giggling, I'm sitting here laughing, but gas is no laughing matter. It's actually what they call a canary in the coal mine, which is another saying. I don't know if I particularly understand what that means, the canary in the coal mine. I think it comes back from when people used to work in the coal mines, or if they still do, they would send the canary in there, and then the canary would be like, hey man, there's toxic gas in here. You don't want to go in there. And the canary comes back or something. I don't know. But it's apropos, okay? The canary in the coal mine is your stinky booty farting up a storm after you eat something, okay? And here's the thing, is if the body's working right, you're not supposed to be getting them farts or them burps or that indigestion or those little half burpy things where you hide it and then it hurts in the back of your throat. You're not supposed to get any of that. You got a migraine because you've just been holding in farts all day, or you go on a date, right? Is there anything worse than the date fart that you have to hold in? Oh, God, man. Thank God I have the lovely Miss A-Hole in my life, and we're nice and married, and I don't got to put myself through that torture. She's a little torture because, I just let them rip. Right, that's what you got to do in life. But for some of you a-holes, you're single, you're out there on the scene, you're trying to make hay, you're trying to get laid, you're trying to get funky, you're trying to procreate, you're trying to just to have a decent dating life, and you go on these Tinder dates or these eHarmony dates, and you're trying to act and pretend like you're not a human and you don't fart, and so you hold the thing in for hours, and you just feel it just bubbling up in there, and it hits a point where you're like, is this a fart or is this more than a fart? Is this more than a fart? Is it? You don't know. And sometimes it's just straight up gas. And then sometimes, man, I've seen it like this where people have that bubbly thing going up a little high in the GI tract, and the shit starts to feel like a heart attack. I knew a guy who I was doing comedy with. One night at the comedy club, we're just sitting there in the green room, hanging out, all waiting for our turns to go on stage, and this dude just starts keeling over, and he just had that look like, oh, which I don't know. Is that the sound you make? This is really not supposed to be funny. Is that the sound you make when you have a heart attack? I've actually never been around somebody having a heart attack, but man, he started making this. He was like holding his chest. He was holding his chest, and he was like, oh, and he was like holding it in, and it was like he was sweating, and he was like panicky, and then, man, he just let one rip, and this was one for the ages. This was the middle of Times Square. They heard it down in fucking 4th Street. Yeah, that's how loud this thing was. If you know your New York City geography, this thing, erupted. Paintings were falling off the wall. The fucking paint was curling off the wall. Nails were coming unhinged. People's minds were coming unhinged. He thought it was a heart attack, and it was like the greatest feeling ever to let go of this locked up gas in the old GI chamber that somehow made its way to the wrong part. Dude, this is not good. If you're one of these people and you've got bad gas, especially if you've got the really smelly gas, that's even worse, okay? You got a little bit of gas here and there. It's okay. Everyone has it. It's just human. But that's the thing they want you to think, that when you've got bad gas, they're like, oh, it's fine. It's just human. The vegans, right? If you're a vegan, you've probably heard from like some of these vegan doctors, like the McDougalls and the Gregors and the Dean Ornishes and, all these people, that it's like, oh yeah, gas is a sign of good gut function. It is absolutely not. It is pretty much the complete opposite of that. That is the brainwashing of veganism right there, and I fell for it. Hey, my empathy goes to you, my friend, who has to listen to this nonsense of somebody telling you like, oh, yeah, that's just what happens when you eat too many fruits and vegetables and beans and grains. It just means that your healthy, good bacteria is just communicating that it's happy. How does it communicate that it's happy? It just makes the most unsightly sound, the most unsexiest noise that comes out of your body. That's how your body communicates that it's happy. No, dude, that is straight up propaganda. They're looking to fuck up your whole goddamn situation. They're looking for you to never get laid again. If you're out there in the vegan world trying to get some vegan pussy or some vegan cock, and you're out there just blowing gas like you're the freaking Chernobyl about to blow, that is not a good sign, my dear friend. That is bad. Because here's the deal with gas. What it is actually a sign of gut dysfunction specifically. It's a sign of dysbiosis, right? It could be a sign of something even worse, Dysbiosis, basically, you got to think about your gut like an ecosystem. This is the fundamental change in the thinking that the health world is kind of slowly going through right now, and was personally really the metamorphosis of this a-hole back in the day, back when I went from just being a dude who, woke up in the morning, ate like 3 bowls of cereal, hit up, the fast food, down some dollar pizza, fucking gorged on ice cream at night, and called it a day. Right? When I realized that, the reason why I was just continually sick was because I was jeopardizing the health and safety, quite frankly, of my gut function. And all of those foods I just named off, those are toxic to your gut. So, and essentially what happens is over the years, the little flora and the fauna, think of it like an aquarium, right? You look in an aquarium and, let's pretend there's no fish in this aquarium. And if you got fish floating around your gut, hey, that's pretty sick. And I mean sick like cool. Like that's pretty awesome. That'd be dope if you got like some goldfish in there, but you don't, okay? It's not that adorable. It's actually pretty rancid. But just imagine like a little aquarium, and you've got these, little brushes and algae and plants. You don't have that in your stomach, but I'm just using it like that's kind of what it is. You got this bacteria that's just sitting along your gut lining, and they colonize, and they're microscopic. We can't even see them. There's 9 or 10 bacteria for every one human cell in the body. This is how tiny. Think about how tiny a human cell is. These gut bacteria are tiny, and they go in and they populate, and you got some good, you got some bad. And there's millions and billions and trillions of them, and we're still trying to decide which ones are good, which ones are bad, right? We don't know, but what you do know is that if you are walking around and you're dropping bombs out your booty, and you're able to successfully clear a room, chances are you probably got more bad than good. And it's not that you want more good than bad. You don't want to eradicate all the bad. You need some bad, you need some of the bad guys in there to just kind of keep you straight, right? But you need more of the good guys. And most people are walking around with more of the bad guys. And every time you eat something, the gut bacteria, they kind of do their thing. They take the food particles, and if it's got nutrients in it, you might be feeding the good guys, you might be feeding the bad guys. A lot of sugars when you eat sugar, whether it's sugar or even whether it's some kind of like starch. It could be like a bread, a grain, could be rice, could be beans, could be legumes, which I think are beans, could be anything that breaks down into glucose, into the sugars. Most of those feed the bad gut bacteria. Although, if it's the resistant starches, like the what's a good resistant, like a sweet potato per se, that like the root vegetables, those actually bypass the whole small intestine, large intestine. They don't get broken down into the sugars, and they go down into your colon, and they feed the gut bacteria in your colon, which is pretty awesome. Okay, although you're still messing with the sugars, and look, the keto people, they're very down on this sort of thing. They don't like the idea of any starch whatsoever. But you need the good gut bacteria in your colon to gobble up the resistant starch, because then they make the beautiful short chain fatty acid called butyric acid. Butyrate. It's amazing. This is the stuff that the keto people actually love. The butyric, what is the actual name? Butyric something. I don't know the full name of it. It's out there in the old internet land. You can hit pause right now on your player, after, of course, you've subscribed, and you can Google it yourself. But butyric acid, butyrate, it's a short-chain fatty acid that goes, once it's in your body, man, that starts showing love to the immune system, starts showing love to your freaking liver, to your fucking, to everything. It's just a great fatty acid to have there that just makes your whole body work so much better. Also, you can get it from good grass-fed butter. Butyrate comes from butter. It's that's kind of how it all got discovered. So this is like an example of kind of like what goes down inside your gut, and it's pretty amazing. Okay, but if you abuse your gut with crap food, stuff laden in pesticides, chemicals, when you go and you shop in the middle of the grocery store where all of the box stuff, all of the prepackaged stuff is, all of that stuff is packaged with an insane amount of chemicals, the yellow 6 and the formaldehyde and the high fructose corn syrup and just the soy lecithins and the you know what I'm talking about. All the just crazy long word ingredients that you'll find on, like a box of Twinkies, even though I don't know if they still make Twinkies, Ho-Hos, Dum-Dums, all that crap, right? Popsicles, fucking every ice cream they sell in the grocery store packaged with all this crap. Also, all the dairy shit. all the milk, all this stuff. It is all terrible for your gut. And when that goes into your stomach, it feeds the bad guys, right? It feeds the bad guys, and the bad guys, reward you by, kind of giving you some bloating, giving you some gas, giving you some indigestion. Of course, when that stuff gets sucked up, gets absorbed in through small intestine, goes into your bloodstream. It can fuck up, your liver, your kidneys, your heart, your organs, your arteries, all that stuff, right? But I'm going to even go another level deeper by going a level higher here, because it's not all, this is dysbiosis. So when you feed the bad guys for so long with that bad food, basically what you build is just a crap neighborhood, a crap ecosystem of bad guys in your gut. Right? You want more good guys than the bad guys. If you feed them the bad food, you build up more bad guys, and it just turns into just a shitty neighborhood, right? Where, you drive through those neighborhoods, and there's the broken windows and the graffiti and, homeless people everywhere, and they're walking up to you like, hey man, let me get a quarter, let me get a change, let me get a hug, let me get a kiss. Then they got their little grocery card or whatever, and that's what it is. Okay, that's what's going on in your gut if you continue to feed it bad stuff. And you get rewarded with, a crappy body function, inflammation, all that terrible stuff. But here's how you can fix that shit, okay? I'm not just going to leave you hanging by just talking crap about your shit ecosystem, okay? We're going to talk about how to really fix that stuff, okay? And it all starts at the very top. It all starts at the top. Okay? What happens is when you eat the food, it goes into your stomach. Duh. Okay? If your mind is blown right now, I totally get it. This might be new information, but for the most part, when you eat stuff, it goes into your stomach. Okay? And here's what happens. We all just kind of say okay, it's in my stomach, everything's gravy. Okay? I totally get that. Okay? I was there one time. But here's what really happens. When you put the food in your mouth, it goes into your stomach, okay? It doesn't just disappear, okay? I know there's carnivores out there, the carnivore people, they want to just believe you eat the food and then it just disappears because your body uses the meat. That's why you don't poop, and that's why it's good to be a carnivore, because you actually hold on to all the food in the meat, all the nutrition in the meat. Man, is there not a more ass backwards diet than the carnivore diet? Oh, God. Okay, so the food goes into your stomach, okay? And what happens from there is you have the stomach acid goes in and breaks down the food, right? We've all heard of the stomach acid. It's actually technically hydrochloric acid. And you probably know hydrochloric acid if you have ever seen a cartoon, they'll take the hydrochloric acid, or the old cartoons, and, they'll dump the hydrochloric acid on the ground, and then it'll burn a hole in the ground, and then, you just fall through the hole, okay? Shit is potent, right? But you have this, a very specific, strong stomach lining that it can actually hold hydrochloric acid. It doesn't just burn holes through your stomach, right? So when the food goes in your mouth, it goes down your throat, down your esophagus, into your stomach. The hydrochloric acid kicks into gear and then breaks the food down. Okay, and in a perfect situation, the food gets broken down into what they call a chyme, right? And then the chyme starts making its way into your small intestine, where from there, the little intermediate part called the duodenum, all of the pancreatic enzymes, you've heard of these, man. They're like the hot thing that all the mommy bloggers talk about. People going out and dropping all this money on pancreatic enzymes without even knowing what they do. The secretin, right? You get these pancreatic enzymes coming in, and basically what they do is they coat the chyme, they coat the broken down food. And I should also mention too that that this is the part where the minerals and the nutrients and the food start to kind of get absorbed out of the gut into the bloodstream, right? This is how you get your magnesium, your vitamin C, your B vitamins, and they go in your body and they do all the things they're supposed to do. And then your gallbladder pops in. Your gallbladder's like, yeah, what's up? player? What, we got a chyme up in here? Oh, shit. Let me drop some cholecystokinin, some CCK up on that bitch. Coat that shit up, breaks down all the fats, emulsifies the fats, and also brings us to the right pH to where now the chyme drops into your small intestine, and this is where it just starts rolling nice smoothly through all of your GI tract, and it's perfect, and it goes into your large intestine, and within 24 hours it should hit your butthole, and then you get a nice juicy solid poop that comes out. That's a perfect situation. But for most of you who that's not working for, this is where you start dropping them bombs, okay? Because essentially what starts going down is, when the food gets into your stomach, it's already encountered a whole bunch of problems. Okay, there's already problems happening, and it could be because of that moment. It could be chronic, right? It could be a problem that's been building for a long time. A lot of you, we've had this episode before, aren't chewing your food right. Okay, this is a huge problem I had, and it's not because you're consciously aware that you're not chewing your food. It's because you're eating and you're doing stuff like watching, scrolling through your phone, and you're getting angry, right? You're reading about, about Trump, and you're reading about the news, and you're scrolling through your Instagram feed, and everybody on your Instagram feed is living a much better life than you are. Everyone on your Facebook feed, much better life than you are. Then you pop on over to Twitter, and everybody's just pissing everybody off, and you're so angry. You're not in a parasympathetic state, and so if you're not in a parasympathetic state, if your nervous system is literally switched on to fight or flight, then this essentially shuts down all of the digestive processes, okay? Your pancreas is not going to deliver the right amount of enzymes. Gallbladder is not going to squeeze out the bile. The hydrochloric acid juice ain't going to come squirting about because your body isn't in a rest and digest mode, which is parasympathetic. It is in a fight or flight, right? Remember when we were cavemen and we would be out there on the savannah and we would see the mountain lion and it would be looking us in the eye, and then we would be like, shit. And then we just start running for our lives. We also weren't digesting at that point. The body has decided it's one or the other. You are either resting and digesting, or you are fighting and flighting. And if you're fighting and flighting, you're not digesting. And when you are looking through your phone and you're eating, you're fighting and flighting. You're getting angry. You're having a visceral, ancient reaction that is fucking up your digestion. So when the food goes in your mouth, your situation is not set up to properly digest. So you're not chewing enough, okay? Remember, your stomach does not have teeth. Your esophagus does not have teeth. The food goes in your mouth, you chew it, you give it like 1 or 2 good chews, and then you swallow. We've all been there. You just take a big gulp, a big swallow, and you house a burger or a sandwich or a plate of fries or some nachos or whatever it is you're eating. You house that shit in like 3 minutes, and you look down and you finished it, and you're like, I'm still hungry. It's because the chemicals that go from the full chemicals, the leptin that's communicated in your fat cells has not had enough time to get the message, to send the message around that we're full. It's like your body's like, just keep it coming, baby, keep it coming, right? And so you'll eat and gorge and eat and gorge and eat and gorge, and then you're just, 20 minutes later, you've just housed way more food than you were planning on, and then you're full as fuck. It's not even like you're healthy full, like I'm satisfied, I'm nourished. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go throw up, right? That's what that is. That is fight or flight eating. So when you're fight or flight eating, the food goes into your stomach, the hydrochloric acid that's supposed to go in and be the mechanism that breaks all that shit down to a manageable amount so it can go through the little tiny holes and sockets that make it so you can properly digest it, that's not working. Right? So now you've got just a big lump that's just going to slowly start making its way through your digestive tract, okay? And I mean, think about it like this. This is my favorite way to describe it. Think about the movie Indiana Jones. And I don't know if I've actually even really seen the movie. I mean, it's just the most famous scene from the movie where the boulder starts coming down and he's running from the boulder and the boulder is just following him. This is the food that's going through your digestive tract right now. It's just a big ugly, rocky boulder that didn't get broken down. It should have gotten broken down into a little teeny pebble, but no, it is a big, nasty boulder. And because you were eating in fight and flight, the boulder is now just going to start rolling down your GI tract, and it's going to start fucking shit up. It's going to start just wrecking your situation. And you know who's happy about that? Your bad gut bacteria. And your bad gut bacteria gets that stuff, and you know what it does? It starts communicating out your butthole, and it starts farting and burping and belching. This is how the whole thing works, okay? So it's not like if you're farty, if you're gassy, that's not a sign of good. It's a sign of dysfunction, and you got to fix this shit, right? Literally, you got to fix this shit. And when you fix it, your shit will be better. I promise you. Okay? It just takes a little work. It takes a little patience, okay? You have to kind of work within it, right? If you've blown your opportunity, right? You're at the dance. You're at the club, and you've just been that smelly, farty person. We all know that. We all know that person when you're at the club. You're on the dance floor. You're dancing. You're doing the stanky leg. You're doing all them dances. You're doing all that stuff, right? And then somebody just drops a rotten egg bomb right in the middle of the dance floor, and everyone's like, who that? And everyone's looking at each other like, who did that? Who dat? And you're like, please don't be this sexy lady that I'm dancing with right now with the hot mini skirt and the big cans, and she's looking back at you like it was totally you, and you're looking at her and you're like, oh, please don't be her. The whole picture's ruined. It was somebody did it. It might have been you. You don't want to be that guy, right? And so this is how you fix it, okay? What you do, first things first, when you eat, you sit down, you take a breath. I don't come from a religious background. I know I've had a few podcasts here that have been, kind of pro-religious. I'm not a religious person, okay? But I do see the benefit of doing something like saying grace. Okay? Saying a little prayer before you eat. Not even because it's anything about religion, because it just takes you a second to be grateful for the food. This will very quickly put you into a parasympathetic rest and digest state, okay? If there's nothing else you do during this meal, if you at least do that, you've set yourself up for some major success. And I'm not just like using hyperbole. I'm talking like life-changing success. This could change your whole situation if you just take a second every time you eat and go, oh, I'm grateful for this food, which you should be, because it's pretty miraculous most things that we eat even get to us in the first place. If you really understood the supply chain that food goes through to get from, a thing in the wild, or a thing on a factory farm, or, a thing in the forest, or a thing on, somebody's farm or backyard or whatever it is, it's pretty amazing that it made it into your mouth, okay? So you should, no matter what you do, be grateful and say, I'm grateful for these Cheetos, whatever you're gonna eat, right? You say, oh, thankful. Oh, take a breath, breathe it in, take a second, calm yourself, calm your heart rate, calm the thinking in your mind. And if I were you, I would ditch the phone. I would get rid of don't look at it, okay? If you want to use the phone, put on some like real peaceful, slow music, something that kind of makes you happy. Or better yet, have somebody with you to eat with and talk to them. And because if you talk, you are slowing down the amount you're actually eating at once. And then what you want to do is when you put the food in your mouth, you don't want to take a giant heaping bunch of it. You want to take just small bites. And you want to chew that food into oblivion, If you can get yourself 30 bites, that I know it seems like a lot, but it's actually not. When you start chewing, if you can knock out 30 bites, 40 bites, 50 bites, I mean, you're going to really fucking help your situation. And then you swallow. And then if you're calm, if you're chilled out, you're going to allow your hydrochloric acid to start working. Now, a lot of you, this has been such a chronic problem that your hydrochloric acid don't work anymore, or it doesn't work well. So you have some options. You could go out and you could buy hydrochloric acid pills. Some people are afraid of them. You don't got to be afraid of them, right? Do yourself the hydrochloric acid challenge, okay? What you do is you just take one hydrochloric acid per meal per day, okay? Then bump it up to 2 per day. Then bump it up to 3 per day, then up to 4 per day. And you basically get to a point where you, if your stomach starts to burn, then you stop and you dial it down. So if you get to 4 one day and you start to feel like a little kind of burning, you'll know the burn too. It's pretty instantaneous, 4 is too many for you. Dial it down to 3. Okay, now you know how much hydrochloric acid you can consume and without pain, right? That's like your right amount. And ideally, you want to take that thing down to 1. You want to take it down to 0. You want to take it so you don't even need that stuff anymore. But some of us just need it more long term because we're just so chronically jacked up. So you take the hydrochloric acid, or, if you're not comfortable taking hydrochloric acid, you could do this with like lemon. Go invest in lemons, bro. I'm telling you, just keep them in your fridge. Get yourself like 10, 20, 30 lemons. They're super cheap. There's stores by me that sell them like 8 for $1 or 8 for $2. I mean, they're crazy. They sell them like fucking crack, right? Go buy some lemons, squeeze some lemon juice into a little bit of water, suck that down, or just take the lemon straight if you're a badass like that. Prime the engine. Some people like to use apple cider vinegar for this. I personally was on a little bit of a apple cider vinegar bender. I know people in the holistic world love it. I'm not totally convinced that it's all that in a bag of chips. People have problems with their teeth. It could burn a hole. If you're not set up for it, it could give you a little bit of stomach issues. So do the lemon water, maybe 20, 30 minutes before you eat. You're going to prime up your HCl. You're going to prime up your stomach acid. And then when you eat, boom, take that shit down, eat it up. Let it burn up let it just disintegrate in your stomach. And now watch as you don't get gassy. You'll feel it immediately. You'll feel fuller because essentially what's happening is the food is getting broken down. The nutrients are being fed into your body. So another problem is people overeat because they're not chewing enough and they're not breaking the food down enough to where the nutrients are actually just not going into the bloodstream. So you're not getting any of the vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, protein, fat. It's not working like it's supposed to. If it does, if you're nutrient sufficient, then you don't got to worry about, you're not going to be hungry anymore because your body will be nourished. That's what you want, right? So, and then you'll notice immediately, be like, oh my God. I shouldn't say you will notice immediately. You'll notice at some point, you'll be like, I haven't farted. And I'm not bloated. And I'm not burpy. And I'm not gassy. And I don't have indigestion. Okay? It'll hit you. You'll be like, oh shit, this works. Because it does. Because this is how the body works. I'm not just making this up. I didn't discover this. We've known about this for freaking years. We've probably known about this since the fucking 1800s. I'm pretty sure we have. Right? So if you want to stop being a farty mess, if you want to stop stinking up the dance floor, if you want to stop holding your butt cheeks together on dates, if you want to just live a normal life, then take my advice. Start slowly eating your food, breaking it down. Use some hydrochloric acid, use some lemon water, use some apple cider vinegar, chew your goddamn food, you filthy animal, and watch how your life just changes before your eyes. Also, you'll probably end up losing weight too because you'll be eating less food. The hormone signals, leptin will get from your brain to your fat, from your fat into your other fat and into your stomach, and you're not going to be hungry. So I'm really curious to know, like, if this works out for you guys, if this starts to happen for you. Let me know. Shoot me a nice little Instagram message at Holistic A-Hole. Join the Holistic A-Holes Facebook group and find me on Facebook at Holistic A-Hole. And if you haven't done this yet, go to my YouTube page, Holistic A-Hole, where I'm posting videos every week. And, if you haven't done this, subscribe to the podcast. Let me know what you think. And share this with people you love. Share this with those stinky, farty people that you call friends and family because God knows they need it, right? So I hope you all enjoyed the podcast. I will catch you on the next one. Peace.